Yo, it's your boy. Y'all leave me some cut. So hey, bro, y'all already know. Alright, let me chill out before I get copyrighted. But nah, bro, Donda still smack, bro. Weeks after it dropped, Donda still smacks. I ain't gonna lie. But hey, bro, today we got top 10 most brutal methods of execution in history. We got this requested by. Hold on, let me check if this shit recording. Alright, yeah, we chilling. We got this requested by MJ Banks. Now, hey, bro, I'm not gonna lie. All of these accounts that be requesting shit, bro, I be seeing when they was made. Them pictures was made like, bro, there's like 4 accounts that I requested that was made by like, it was made like a couple hours. You feel me? Like, it was literally made the same day they requested it. So I don't know if it can't be bots. Because there's no way bots are going to type like actual people. And why would bots be telling me to react to shit? Unless they tell me to react to shit and then they go copyright it. Nah, bro, I need the Copyright Act. I'm gonna put that in the description every time. But either that or I don't know, motherfucker try to help me. I don't know. All I'm saying is, bro, I hope this shit don't fuck up my channel. Like, you know how YouTube be checking like if you be botting and shit. I hope it don't fuck me up, cause my nigga, I'm honestly, I'm not botting YouTube. I'm not botting. I don't know who the fuck it is on my vids. So that's all I gotta say. But hey, bro, 10 most brutal methods of execution. If y'all could come up with a more brutal method, let me know in the comments. You feel me? I know I could definitely come up with some crazy shit. I'm not gonna say shit because y'all motherfuckers are gonna think I'm crazy. But just know, motherfuckers, if the cartel will recruit motherfuckers like me, they definitely would. Anyways, let's get to it.
Throughout history, people have been punished for crimes they've committed by horrific methods of torture and executions. Today, these punishments seem so cruel, it's hard to believe they were used for centuries. Check out 10 of the most brutal methods of execution in history. Colombian necktie. During the 10-year-long civil war in Colombia, also known as La Violencia, there was a method of execution so terrifying it instilled fear into the hearts of all. This method was the infamous Colombian necktie. The executioner would first make an incision under the convict's chin using a blunt knife and then pull out his tongue, leaving him to choke to death. The Colombian necktie is often associated with Pablo Escobar. He's considered to be its creator, but that couldn't possibly be true because he wasn't even born when the Civil War started. Iron Maiden. The next method comes from the end of the 18th century.
What did it look like again? I missed it, my nigga. I blanked out. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of blanked out.
This method was the infamous Colombian necktie.
Oh, it blows up.
Civil War started. Iron Maiden. The next method comes from the end of the 18th century. It's an iron cabinet designed so that a person can stand inside of it.
Wait, bro, I seen shit about this. I heard they never even used it. Probably like once or twice, but it was mostly just there to intimidate. But I don't know, bro.
It had a small door loaded with sharp spikes on the inside, usually made of nails or knives. This brutal device was called the Iron Maiden, so it's not surprising that a famous British heavy metal group decided to use it as the name of their band. The device was used for interrogation and torture of suspects so they would confess their crimes. When the victim was inside of the cabinet, the executioners would close the door. However, the torture didn't stop there, because their spikes were designed so that their sharp tips couldn't pierce through the vital organs. In that way, the victim would stay alive.
What? How is that possible? Spikes, but it's not gonna go through your organs? What? Unless they designed it in a way where it was away from your organs, or they weren't long enough to reach your organs. Because, bro, how the fuck is that possible? It's going to puncture you, but not puncture your organs. The fuck? Motherfuckers back in the day. But I know, like, technology now, we're at, like, humanity's peak and shit. But, bro, motherfuckers back in the day for what they had, bro, they was actually smart as fuck, bro. I mean, obviously, they was dumb in other ways, like, medicine-wise, medical-wise, that type of shit. But for inventions like these, my nigga, them shits is smart as hell, bro. I know I wouldn't be able to come up with this, but then again, I almost failed. I basically failed math, so yeah.
And die slowly unless they answered executioner's questions. Most of the victims didn't even get to confess, since they would bleed to death too quickly. Bamboo torture. Bamboo is the fastest growing evergreen plant from the grass family. Some types of bamboo can grow up to 20 to 40 inches in only one day.
A day? A day?
During World War II, the Japanese used this plant to torture their prisoners. They would tie a victim above a young bamboo shoot, and the fast-growing and sharp plant would penetrate the prisoner's body, eventually growing through them in a couple of days. Many people were skeptical about this, so the popular Mythbusters created a replica of a human body out of a material with the highest resemblance to human flesh. They proved that the bamboo took only 3 days to penetrate their replica.
Bro,
The brazen...
that's, bro. But if you're on top of the bamboo while it's growing, wouldn't, unless they already put you, like, stab you with it in the beginning, wouldn't it just, like, go around your body or some shit? Because I know bamboo is strong as shit, but, like, bro, is that strong? When it grows, it could still puncture?
Bull. In a Greek colony in Sicily, the criminals were punished in an unusual and extremely painful way. There was a brazen device shaped like a life-sized bull, hollow from the inside and with a door on its side large enough for a grown person to go through it. The prisoner would be locked inside the bull, and then the executioner would light a fire under it. The fire would burn until the bull turned red, or the temperature went over 700 degrees. The victims would die a slow and painful death. The interior of the device had special pipes constructed so that they made the prisoner's screams sound like a roar of a raging bull. The interesting thing is that the inventor of the device bragged so much about his creation that the ruler tricked him into going inside to prove his invention worked. They lit the fire and let him scream to test if it really sounded like a raging bull.
My nigga, why would you just let him scream? What the fuck? Why would you kill the inventor? But nah, bro. Bro, I'm just thankful, bro. Nowadays, like, motherfuckers don't really, like, especially with the system, like, police system and shit. Like, bro, imagine if motherfuckers still did this nowadays. You feel me? Like, decapitation, all of that shit, lynching. Okay. Even lynching in some states. I think they still do it in some states. But, bro, like, lynching and shit and decapitation, that type of shit, okay, I understand. You feel me? Because that's different. But this, my nigga, you're literally, this is, it's not death, my nigga, it's torture. You feel me? Like, bro, you gon' be, I heard that if you got lit on fire, that's the worst pain you could ever feel. So this is basically the worst pain you could ever feel. You're getting cooked. Inside, outside in. And motherfuckers are just laughing at you. You screaming and you sound like a bull. Like, bro. To be honest, bro, if I was put in this position before that shit, I would just cause so much of a scene, try to fight motherfuckers so hard to the point where they'll have to kill me before they even put me in the bull. You feel me? They'll have to stomp me out or something. Because I'm not going in that bitch. No lie, bro. I'd rather kill myself than go in.
When they saw that everything was working properly, they opened the door and let the half-roasted man out. Slow slicing, lynching. Another method of torture which required the victim to stay alive as long as possible comes from China. This kind of torture was intended for those who committed heaviest of crimes, such as murder or treason. This method of execution was named lingqi, which translates to slow slicing. The victim was tied to a tree in a public place, and the executioner would start by slicing the victim's fingers and toes, moving to hands, feet, ears, nose, and eventually cutting off whole limbs. After all of that, the convict would be killed by a stab to the heart. This method was also used as a spiritual punishment because, according to Confucius, if the body wasn't whole,
Nah, bro, that shit look like that shit hurt. I'm not gonna lie, bro. That shit look like it hurt.
the soul also wouldn't be whole in the afterlife.
But then again, I heard when you get really hurt, like you feel a lot of pain, your body just goes into shock. and you don't even start to feel it. But then again, it is slow slicing, so after like 2 hours, they come back, do it again. There's only so much shock you could get. But I don't know how much that would hurt, to be honest. I never been, actually I have been stabbed, but it wasn't like a big stab wound. It was just like some small shit. I got lucky though, cause literally, it was like right here, right where my veins is at, right here in the middle. You could still kind of see the scar, right there. And on the other one too, my nigga. Like, no lie, it was the scar's not here no more, but it was literally here, bro. I swear I'm not suicidal, bro. I was just trying to cut meat. That shit was frozen. My hand slipped and I stabbed myself by mistake. Blood went everywhere, my nigga. But all I know from that, it didn't hurt. It just felt like fucking... After, like, I cleaned it up and all that shit, mind you, blood was squirting everywhere. That shit was squirting. Like, my nigga, I think I lost at least a gallon of blood, my nigga. I'm not gonna lie. But, bro, after I cleaned it up, it didn't hurt. It was just sore. You feel me? After, like, 2-3 days, my hand was back to normal. But that first day, every time I moved that shit was sore as fuck.
Sawing. This incredibly cruel method of execution was used during the Middle Ages in Europe, and it was often connected with the Roman Emperor Caligula, since it was popular during his reign. He was so inclined to this method of torture that he even used it to execute some of his family members. The victim would be hanged on a tree by their feet. Then, the executioner would cut the victim from the crotch to the head with a saw. Since the victims were hanging upside down, there was enough blood flowing to their brains to stay alive and conscious until the saw hit the main artery of the abdomen. The executioner would sometimes even pause when reaching the abdomen, so the victim would experience even more pain. Rat torture. This particularly horrendous method of execution, originating from medieval China, is described as the most brutal type of torture ever created. Rat torture included placing live rats on a prisoner's naked body, usually the abdomen, and then covering them with a ceramic bowl. A vast amount of burning charcoal was then placed on the bowl, heating it gradually. The rats, terrified by heat, would instinctively start trying to find a way out by clawing and biting through the victim's flesh. An extremely small number of victims would survive this. Most of them would die of intense internal bleeding or blood poisoning from the infected wounds. Blood Eagle. The Blood Eagle method is mostly...
Oh! I forgot about this, bro. I know they had this in Game of Thrones, I think. I never watched it, but I heard about the scene. That shit is actually crazy, bro. Like, bro, I imagine that would be more for religious purpose, than fucking, like, just doing it. But I don't know, bro. That shit just look crazy.
Associated with Nordic countries. The executioner would stab the victim from the back, then carefully slice through their ribs and pull the lungs through them, after which they would look like wings. They were extremely cautious while pulling out the lungs, so they wouldn't damage them. They wanted the lungs to remain functional and to achieve the look of fluttering wings. To increase the pain, they would even put salt on the wound. The victims would die in agony shortly after being tortured like this.
Wait, how would they still be alive?
Impalement. Impalement was a common way of performing death sentences in Turkey. The victim was laid down facing the ground, and their hands and feet were tied with ropes. The ropes were pulled in the opposite direction, straining the victim's body. The executioner would then grease up the stake. Its end wasn't sharp, so it wouldn't damage vital organs and cause immediate death. The stake was slowly inserted through the anal cavity, which was stretched beforehand so the stake would be able to fit inside. The executioner would then slowly hit the bottom of the stake with a mallet.
Bro, how would they fucking stretch it out? Would they just get gay niggas to fuck you? Or like, what would niggas do, bro? How would you... Unless they just shove shit up your ass to stretch it out. But, bro, that shit is disgusting, bro. Like, bro, I know a couple of shorties out there that could probably take this. But, bro, this shit is like I said, I'd rather kill myself before going through this type of shit.
The victim. Their body and spine would bend under the pressure, but the executioners would use ropes to keep them in a straight position. They kept doing that until the stake went through the victim's mouth. And then they would raise the stake vertically and leave it in that position while the victim was dying in agony. The person most famous for using this method was Vlad, the Wallachian dude, who earned the...
I heard he used to eat food while watching. Now, I'm gonna be honest, bro. I'm eating right now. Doritos sponsor me. You feel me? I'm the greatest sponsor, my nigga. You feel me? I can eat your food while watching shit. Doritos, get yours today. Good sponsor, like I said, but bro. Back in these days, my nigga, when niggas was more demented and shit, I'm not gonna lie, bro. If I was in his position, if I had all the power and shit, obviously I wouldn't be out here killing civilians. But if you was a prisoner or a bad guy, not a bad guy, like a villain or some shit, my nigga, I'm going crazy on you. You feel me? I'm doing everything I ever imagined, my nigga. Because I'll be honest, bro. I'll be having certain thoughts. It's just like, I'm not crazy. Like, I'm not like a murderer. Like, I'm not about to go out here and kill random people. Because that's just some white people shit. No offense. But, bro, if I had the chance to torture a nigga and shit, my nigga, sign me up, my nigga. Sign me up. If I got to torture a prisoner or some shit, sign me up, my nigga. That would be my career. That would be my career. You feel me? As long as you're paying more than $30 an hour, that would be my career. No lie.
The nickname Tepesh, which translates to the Impaler, because of the way he dealt with the Turks. He first saw this method when he was imprisoned in Istanbul. A well-known legend says he cut down a whole forest and used the wood for stakes, committing mass impalement of 20,000 Turks and leaving them like that to intimidate the enemy. Upon seeing this horrifying scene, the Turkish Sultan, who marched on Vlad with 5 times more soldiers than him, immediately ordered his army to retreat. Scaphism, the boats. Scaphism was invented by the ancient Persians, and it's one of the most brutal execution methods on this list. The victim was placed inside of a small boat, and another boat was screwed on top of it. The victim's torso was inside the boat, and their arms, legs, and head were sticking outside through specially designed holes. Executioners would then force-feed victims with milk and honey in order to induce violent diarrhea, which would eventually fill the boat's interior, enabling insects and parasites to feed on the victim's flesh. This led to gangrene, since the insects would penetrate the victim's body and cut off the blood flow. The body was also covered with honey, especially sensitive body parts such as the face, eyes, ears, and mouth, in order to attract even more insects. The victim was then left to decay, exposed in the sun. This process was lengthy and could be prolonged if the executioner wanted. According to some sources, a famous Persian soldier was executed by this method, but before he died, he survived the terror of the scaphism for a whole 17 days.
17? Nah, bro, that's insane, bro. Like I said, thank God we're living in these times, bro, where the worst shit you could do is get injected by a needle or shooting squad or, you feel me? Like, they try to make you die quick. And I'll be honest, bro, I feel like the life sentence is way worse than a death sentence. Because a life sentence, you know, bro, you know what the state should start doing? By the way, I don't fuck with police, I don't fuck with government, none of that shit. But I'm just saying, bro, instead of giving a nigga a life sentence and staying in prison, why don't you just give him a confinement, a solitary for life? So he just stays in confinement for the rest of his life. That would drive a nigga crazy. That's worse than death, in my opinion. Because you're there for like 50 plus years, unless you kill yourself. You're there for like 50 plus years, just fucking staring at the same cell, same thing, same food, same everything. You gotta read the same story 50 times. Like, nah. Hey, bro. Shout out to the person that requested this. For catch you on the next one, bro. Stay